Yeah, look, again, like you said, it's a little bit difficult because it's such a sort of dynamic world we live in where things change. There's no doubt that, if it wasn't for this game, at some point, after he sort of hung up his boots at some point, that Harry would get the acknowledgement of this football club he deserves. But, that's the nature of football. Things move pretty quickly, and, this time last year, as I said, he was playing for us, and then a week later he's going to Bayern Munich. So, but I think it is a good opportunity tomorrow for some, for the fans and for Harry to really enjoy, the occasion, and I'm sure, he'll get the right sort of acknowledgement and appreciation from a fan base that, adored him as one of their own.
You were a bit short in a couple of positions last season, and for example, centre back, which you addressed in January. How injuries that were suffered by important players, key players last season, have those impacted your kind of recruitment policy, transfer policy this summer, as well as sort of being numerically short in some positions as well?
Yeah, look, as I said, that was pretty glaring last year, that when we had disruptions, be it injuries and some of them were self-inflicted with suspensions, that really struggled to maintain performance. And as you said, we signed Radu in January, which I think helped us enormously in terms of just making sure we've got really good sort of centre back options, irrespective of who starts. And some of our players, sort of hopefully having been through a season with us of the way we train, the way we play, are going to be more robust this year. So, and hopefully we can rotate a little bit more in terms of the starting lineup to protect some of them. But there's no doubt that what we've tried to do is this year is make our sort of squad more sort of resilient and more able to sort of tackle the challenges we're going to have.
And you did say that the club will continue to be in the transfer market in the next couple of weeks before the deadline. How do you feel that your squad is shaping up at this point in time in that season?
Yeah, we're in a decent position. I think there's been, hopefully, and there should be, because we're still a very young group, that there'll be improvement in even the guys that did very well last year. We had a lot of players who it was their first year in the Premier League or their first year at Spurs last year, and a lot of those guys are still very young, and our role is to make sure they keep improving, even though they set a fairly high benchmark. So I'd like to think we're going to be stronger this year just with the existing players, and I think the players we've added so far, certainly from my perspective, have given us some more, like I said, some more cover and quality in areas where we fell short. But we're not there yet. We've still got some work to do, and hopefully over the next sort of 3 weeks we kind of get the ones we want in, and sort of then have, I think we'll have a squad hopefully capable of contesting.
John.
You obviously going to want to bring in a striker, whoever it is it fair to say that they're going to have to hit the ground running? They're already made.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I think I've always felt with those things that if you get the kind of recruitment right, then hopefully whoever it is hits the ground running. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like we signed Mickey van der Ven 3 days before the first game last year against Brentford, and we threw him straight in, and he literally hit the ground running, mate, pretty quickly too. So I think if you get your recruiting right, then hopefully that's what there shouldn't be, because what we're trying to do is identify players who have qualities that will fit into the way we play our football. So obviously there's a little bit of an adjustment there, but hopefully they already have those kind of qualities that allows them to come into the group and contribute straight away. I think that's my expectations when we sign someone, that for all intents and purposes they'll be ready to contribute from the moment they arrive.
Is it also helpful that obviously that following Harry Kane is almost an impossible job? Is it helpful there's been a whole season of no Harry Kane? Is that going to take a bit of weight off the shoulders of whoever comes in to lead this line?
Look, I don't know, but I think I think we showed last year that we were still, a fairly threatening team going forward, even without Harry, obviously. But as I said, when you're talking about a generational talent, he's never going to be replaced. But invariably, there's always those comparisons that will happen when you play, when you do follow a player like him. But I think it's pretty evident from, people would have seen last year, the way we play is we're never going to be relying on one player to sort of, fill that breach in terms of goals. We're a team, hopefully, that, when we're up and running, we can score from many different areas, through many different avenues, and hopefully that, whoever the striker is, that is playing in our system, is a beneficiary of that, but also a contributor to it.
Was that one of the big positives of last season? You didn't fall into a no goals, black hole, Harry Kane,
Yeah, because I spoke about it a lot. It's like I said, it's a fairly sizable hole to breach, and I'm sure it got referred to a lot more if we had struggles in front of goal. So I definitely, there's no doubt about that, and the fact that it wasn't mentioned as much as it could have been probably suggests that we did a pretty good job of collectively as a group, making sure that we were still a kind of a threat in that attacking third.
So, Dias, is it fair to say that the reason you let him go was because obviously a very experienced, very good, high-quality defender? You're just not a highline defender,
No, not necessarily. I've spoken about this before. Like, when you come in and when I came in, certainly there was a need for change. You can't have change if I just kept all the same players together. There's a reason I came in, and I think that there was a sort of group of players, core group of players there who had gone very, very close to having the ultimate success at this football club. Champions League final, league runners-up. But I thought it was coming to the end of a cycle. And when it comes to an end of a cycle, you have to make those decisions. Now, Eric was coming to the last year of his contract. So, the first thing you do as a manager, I think you do as a manager, is, well, what are things that are changeable? And, you kind of look at contract situations. Okay, we had Hugo, we had Eric in the last year of the contract, other guys, coming in the sort of second last year of the contract. Okay, well, there's some opportunities, because if I don't move players on, I can't move players in. So it's not always a judgment on a player. It's more change. We needed to change, and I needed to move some guys out to create the opportunities to bring in Mickey van der Ven, Destiny Udogie, to get more game time for Pape Sarr, to do all these things that we needed to do. So, it's not always a reflection on the player or their inability to sort of play my system. It's just change was needed, I felt.
Are you hopeful that you can get Solanke in time for the start of the season?
That would get me into that era of speculation, mate, which is very, very fraught with danger. So I won't go in there, mate.
I get the impression it's a long way down the line.
Well, look, it used to be, right? It used to be in your profession that you guys used to sort of double and triple source things before you actually. But it seems these days that doesn't exist, mate. People just can throw out any name, and I've got to be up here saying, Tottenham are interested in Neymar, and I've got to come up here and say, yeah, well, no, actually, probably not at this stage, where he's at and where we're at. So, like I said, I think if you're sort of in that mode of doing your research, I think you can get a pretty decent picture of where we're at.
Okay, and finish with George at the back, please.
Depending, it's all kind of on an individual basis of guys who, I think, okay, definitely we need to get them some game time, and there's a couple in that boat who definitely need some game time, so they'll probably happen earlier. Others, we might wait a little bit, because like I said, until we know exactly who's out as well, and that can happen right up until the end of the window. Last year we had players leave after the window closed because certain markets are still open, so it'll be on an individual basis. Some will make a decision earlier, others will kind of leave until the back end of the window.
It's a big weekend for Mikey Moyes, turn 17 on Sunday. How kind of
Well, you know, I mean, I think that's something that, you know, Mikey, and fair to say, you know, it's incredible that he's 16 now, turning 17. You know, he handles really well, and you know, it's kind of part of the process of you know, when you're a young footballer, if you're going well, is how you handle all those things. We can't protect him from all of it. So, but he's been great. You know, we brought him into back in the last year, into the first team environment. He had some injuries earlier in the year, so but every time he played, whether it was with the 18s or 21s, he had an impact, and we're keen to have a look at him from a first team environment. So, and when we brought him in, you know, like I said, for a very young guy, he adjusted really quickly. Not just the coaches, but the players, you know, their respect as well, which is a big thing, you know, in a first team environment. And you know, he's come back. You know, he obviously looked after himself in pre-season and off-season. He came back pre-season. He's done really well. You know, he's done well in the games. He's done well at training. And you know, it's great for this football club that, you know, he's somebody who's come through our academy and is already showing great promise. But he is still a young man, and he's still got some challenges ahead, obviously. But yeah, our role within that, like I said, is just to have the best possible environment for him to be the best footballer he can be. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.